Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome into Jammin' Sports on this Sunday. And we have a busy Sunday afternoon and evening for you today. First up, we'll have NFL action between the Bucs and the Rams, and then we'll have Game 1 of the World Series between the LA Dodgers and the Boston Red Sox, and then we'll have college football for you a little bit later on this evening with Arizona State playing at Ohio State. All right, I wanted to do an extra point blog today to address some things. And we'll just start things off with something on a cool note. I was notified by Twitch late yesterday. Yesterday was my 4th anniversary of becoming an affiliate here on Twitch. It was August 24th, 2024, when I had enough views and I had enough followers where I could make affiliate. And 4 years later, I'm still affiliate, but I'm glad to be an affiliate. I'd like to be a partner one day, but you have to average 75 viewers for that. So we'll just see what happens there. Tor's in the house. Good to see you, Tor. All right, the next thing I wanted to address is Madden 25. As you can probably see on the screen here, the game coming up at the top of the hour is Tampa Bay and the Rams. We're going to restart NFL Sim Season number 34. We only got 6 games into the season, so it's okay to restart here. Boo, Evil Dead says. Here's the reason why we're going to restart. And this takes some history lesson. I have to take you back. I got to give you some context. To make a long story short, Madden 25 is scripted, but we need to go back in time and kind of recap what we mean by that. All right. Prior to the PS5 coming out, Madden 20 was the last Madden that came out just exclusively for the PS4. When Madden 21 came out, it was available for the PS5. And we got copies of 21. We got copies of 22 when it came out, 23, 24, and 25. Every time a next generation or PS5 version of Madden was loaded up and we tried to do games, we quickly found out that the games were scripted. I'll give you a good case in point. Now, to EA's credit, they've gotten a little bit harder to find, except for last year. Last year it was pretty obvious. Last year, it was so funny with Madden 24. It got to the point where they didn't believe me, so we had to get up here and do a game. We picked two teams at random. It was the Colts and the Jaguars, and I said, watch. And through the whole game, and people were just amazed, through the whole game, now this is CPU versus CPU, I'd be sitting there and say, okay, the Jaguars are going to run off tackle. They ran off tackle. All right, the Colts are going to throw here. The Colts threw here. And every time on Madden 24, when you played CPU versus CPU, every time at halftime it would be close, maybe a 3 or 7 point game. And in the second half, the team with the lead would pull ahead, win by 2 scores, and the winning team would always score 30 or more. It happened every single time. And if that weren't enough, what would happen is that once the winning team got up by 2 scores, the losing team would try to make a comeback. They'd get down to about the 10, 5-yard line, somewhere in there, and they'd throw a pick. And we proved it last year with that Jacksonville and Indianapolis game. And I said, okay, the Colts, they're going to score here to make it a 2-point game or 2-score game. And they did. All right, they got the ball back. Okay, they're going to drive down. And they got down to about the 15-yard line. And I said, okay, what's going to happen here? They're going to run off tackle, get down to about the 6. Sure enough. They ran off tackle, got down to the 6. I said, okay, on this play, it's going to be picked off in the end zone. Very next play, it got picked off in the end zone. And this happened over and over and over again. Now, the final score wouldn't be exactly the same, but it would be the same setup. The winning team would score at least 30. It could be 30, 31, 34, somewhere in there. And the losing team would always be 2 possessions back, maybe 11 down or 14 down or whatever. And it happened every single time. So we knew it was scripted. And in fact, when you go back and look at those videos, you can see when you compare one game to the next that the play calls were similar. All right, fast forward to this year. A week ago, Thursday, I got my copy of Madden 25. And we played a couple of exhibition games on Madden 25 in front of everybody just to check it out. And in the 2 games we played, that scenario didn't play out. We played a Jets-Raiders game, and the Jets blew out the Raiders. And then we played a Vikings-Patriots game, and I think the Vikings won by 7. So, and we didn't see what we saw before. And so I felt confident. I said, okay, we'll go ahead and start the season. And then last Sunday, a week ago, we had Tampa Bay and the Rams play. Okay, just like you see on the screen right now. And the Bucs won 38-24. Again, the winning team, 30 or more points, a 2-possession win over the Rams, but that could be coincidence. And, sure enough, the next, it was just a coincidence then. Because the next game was Denver and Buffalo, and that one went down to the wire. And Buffalo threw a pick six with 5 seconds left, and Denver won the game. And then the game after that was the Cowboys and the Eagles. That one went to overtime, and the Eagles pulled it out. So I'm thinking, okay, it's not the same. It's not the same. Well, it was and it wasn't. It was harder to find. In fact, the next couple of games we had the Colts and the Steelers, and that went down to the wire where Pittsburgh won with less than a minute to play on a touchdown catch. And then, what was the other game? Oh, my goodness. It was the Eagles-Cowboys game that went into overtime. Eagles scored with under a minute to play to tie it up and force overtime. So my antenna started going up a little bit. But a fortunate happenstance happened during the Seattle-New Orleans game. All right? When the Seattle-New Orleans game started, and I started streaming, the title card at the bottom of the page that tells you what the game is, it didn't switch over. It still had the previous game. And we were about 4 or 5 plays into the game. And Evil Dead pointed it out to me because I wasn't paying attention to my laptop. And I said, okay, well, we're only 4 or 5 plays in. We'll just start the game over. I'll fix the title card, and we'll just start over. All right? Well, when the Seattle-New Orleans game started the first time, Seattle won the toss, returned the kickoff out to the 27-yard line. 1st and 10. All right? When we started the second time, Seattle wins the toss, gets the kickoff, and they return it to the 27-yard line. And I'm like, All right? As I recall, the next play was an off-tackle run. Well, the next play was an off-tackle run. All right? And I said, okay, the next play I remember was a pass to the sideline. Well, the next play was a pass to the sideline. In other words, the play order and formations were the same. Now, the outcomes of the play differed, but the plays themselves were the same. They're identical. It was like, instead of true CPU versus CPU, it was running off a script. These are the orders of the plays. And I said, So I went back and I looked at the previous other games because I save all my games. And I went back, and the team that won the kickoff, they got the ball at the 27-yard line every time. I didn't catch this before. All right? Now, I fast-forwarded to the end of the game, and I said, okay, well, we had some games that all went down to the wire. In the plays, even though the outcomes differed, the scenario was the same. A team was coming down the field, and in a situation where they could win it, possibly win it, force overtime, whatever. The 3 games I was looking at in particular was Denver, Buffalo, Dallas, Philadelphia, and the Colts and the Steelers, because they all had similar situations down the stretch. And so I went off that final drive, and when Buffalo's final drive, I plotted the plays. On Philadelphia's final drive, I plotted the plays. And on Pittsburgh's final drive, I plotted the plays, and they were identical plays. The outcome was a little bit different. Okay, the Eagles forced overtime. Pittsburgh won, and the Bills threw a pick. But the plays themselves, the formations, the plays, and the yard line that they were on, were virtually the same. I mean, they may have been off by 1 or 2 yards, but you get my meaning. Not just that, but the formations were the same. Okay, everything was the same. And I said, okay, this is scripted. It is scripted. I went back to the other 2 games, which were blowouts. The Raiders beat the Bengals in a blowout, but the Bengals had the ball at the end of the game, and they went through the same order of plays, even though they were in a different position on the field. And what was the other game? That was a blowout. I can't remember. But anyway, so you could tell it was scripted, and it's really upset me because Madden 25 up to that point looked like it had such potential. All right. The college game is great. We enjoy the college game. We did another edition of College Football Saturdays yesterday, 10 games back to back. We had some great games. A couple of games were clunkers, but we had some great games. And the college game is not scripted at all. If it is, we can't see it. And they're hiding it really well. But the college game is not scripted at all. But this really upset me about Madden 25. I'd be texting Evil Dead and saying, I'm still miffed. I'm still miffed. So I made the decision there. I said, okay, well, we can't, if it's scripted, we can't use it. And, here's the thing. They're cutting corners. Yeah, the graphics look better this year. The bells and whistles look good. But it didn't start becoming scripted until the next generation consoles. The scripting started with Madden 21 and continues to this day, obviously. So that's why a lot of people ask me, why am I playing 19? Why am I playing 20? Why are you playing an older game? Because it plays better. For what I do CPU versus CPU sim seasons. For what I do, it plays better. Now, I realize that not everybody does what I do. In fact, not a whole lot of people do what I do. In fact, I don't know anybody that does what I do to the extent in which I do it. But that's neither here nor there. And Evil Dead actually brought that up to me in a text the other day. He says the reasons why we see it and other people don't see it is because we're the only ones doing it like this. But here's the thing. So you might ask, why is EA Sports doing this? Why do they cut corners in such a way on this? Is because these video games, as cool as they are, they do have limited space in which to put all the programming. Okay, the graphics, the play calls, and all this. Okay. And all the different mini games that are in the game. That takes up valuable space. And so something has to go. And instead of having a program where the CPU has decent AI, because that in and of itself takes up a lot of space, they script the games out. They script them out. That way it takes up just a fraction of the space. That way they have more room for Madden Ultimate Team, whatever mini games are on there. And, the mini games are cool. The training camp is all that. I have no problem against that. The Ultimate Team, I have a big time problem with, but we beat that horse to death. I'm not going to continue with that. It's been a cash cow for EA, and they're not going to get rid of it. Where you pay for the players. There's a term for that I'm just escaping me right now. But that's the reason why they cut corners. Ultimate Team really didn't start taking off until Madden 21. Now, I know 18, 19, and 20 had it. 17, you go back as far as 14, and Madden had it. But it wasn't the cash cow that it is now. Okay? It really started taking off in Madden 21 on the next-gen consoles. And they devoted a lot of their RAM and ROM space on their disks to that. And something has to go, and I guess they figured a lot of people don't play CPU versus CPU, and I know that. And so that's what had to go. Now, if you play Madden 25 as a player online against other people, and you're not playing CPU versus CPU, you're not going to see what we saw. Obviously, it's going to play. It probably plays great. A lot of people say they like the game, but I've noticed that a lot of people don't like the game also. And there's another issue with the CPU versus CPU I wanted to bring up. We noticed this as well. Evil Dead and I noticed this. Is that, and I was looking online at some other people's blogs and comments. Madden 25, when you play CPU versus CPU, the play calling is 82% pass. I mean, every game, if you track it, it's right around 82%. They'll call a pass play 82% of the time. The NFL average last season during the 2023 football season was 53%. A little bit more than half the plays were passes. This is a 29% increase in the game. It's too pass happy. It's not balanced. That's a minor issue. The big issue for me is the scripting. But this goes hand in hand with the scripting, if you think about it. Because when you play a game, if you're coming up with 82% or right around there every time, you can tell it's scripted. Okay? Because when you play different teams with different styles over a course of many, many games, that percentage should change. Not every team's pass happy. If you get a team that likes to run the ball, it should be less than 82%. Or maybe there's a team that likes to throw the ball more. It should be in the 90s. I don't think it would ever get in the 90s. Even during a regular season, I don't think in the real NFL anybody would ever throw it 92% of the time. But that just kind of goes hand in hand with the fact that it's scripted. You can only get that result if it's scripted. So, very disappointed in Madden 25. I wanted to get that out there. I wanted to tell people, why I'm going back. I'm going to be using Madden 20 this time. I thought about using 19 again, but we've kind of wore that one out. Yeah, Foutswood. That's about the only exception I can think with Air Coryell back in the 70s, right? So we'll be using Madden 20 this time, which is also a decent game, and pace is a little bit faster than 19, but that's okay. Not as fast as college, so I'll be all right. Now then, with that out of the way, let me take the time, since we're restarting the season. It'll be Tampa Bay and the Rams coming up at the top of the hour. How I'm setting up Sim Season number 34. We've been using 30 teams of the 32 for the past couple of seasons. But because of my work schedule and everything, this past spring, it really slowed us down. It took, instead of taking 6 months to do a season, it took 8 because we missed a lot of days back in the spring. My radio job, we had our local high schools go deep in the basketball and baseball and softball playoffs, and there was a lot of days where I couldn't get on here. So it really delayed the schedule. When you play 30 teams, it's a 240-game regular season. Yeah, it took 27 months and 4 days. When you do a 30-team, 16-week season, it's 240 games. So I was looking around, and I said, you know what? We're going to trim it. We're going to play a 14-game season. We're only going to use 26 of the 30 teams. We're going to use the scheduling format that they used from 1970 to 1975 in the NFL, where everything kind of rotated, and we'll do it that way, and that's the way we're going to do this. Each conference will have 13 teams, 3 divisions, 2 divisions of 4 teams, and 1 division of 5 in each conference. And each team plays 3 interconference matchups of the 13 games. Of course, they play their division opponents home and away, and then they'll make up the other games with games in their conference. And that way, the season goes from 240 games to 182 games. So that should make the season go by quicker. And instead of 15 games a week, you now have 13 games a week. So we should be happy with that. Because there's less teams, 13 teams per conference, we're going to take away a wild card. Instead of 6 teams in each conference making the playoffs, it's down to 5. You'll have your 3 division winners and the 2 wild cards. So that's how we'll do Sim Season number 34. All right, coming up, I want to get all that off my chest. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to join us. Want to also point out, I think a lot of people forget, especially those that watch this after the fact. There's a lot of people that watch my videos after the fact, and I do appreciate them. I do, because we'll be saving this to YouTube. All the games are automatically saved to the video section where they stay for 2 weeks. And that's the reason why I save everything to YouTube, because it stays there forever. If you want to check out my videos on YouTube, just go to YouTube and type in Jammin' Sports. But, that's right, but what I want to say is, for all those that watch this after the fact, please join us live on Twitch. We'd love to have you. Right now, this time of year, I'm on, usually without fail, Monday through Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. That's 5 o'clock Pacific. Normally we'll have football. We'll throw in some other sports in there. On Saturdays, we're on starting at 10 a.m. Eastern, and that's early in the morning on the West Coast, 7 a.m. on the West Coast, but hey, have breakfast with me, okay? For Saturday morning, college football Saturdays, that's on Saturday. Again, that starts at 10 a.m. Eastern. And then on Sundays, like today, we're usually on by about 5 o'clock Eastern Time, unless we say otherwise. So please, join us live. I mean, we're trying to get our viewership up. Again, it's my 4th anniversary of being an affiliate here on Twitch. We started this back in February of 2020 during COVID. I found this accidentally. I said, you know what? I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time. I tried doing this on YouTube a couple of times in the past few years before that. Didn't really stick. but Twitch is a great platform for me, and we've had a lot of fun over the last 4 years, and we continue to have more and more fun doing this. It's a labor of love, and but I need to get to 75 viewers. I need to get to an average of 75 viewers to make partner. That's right. Evil Dead is my director of pronunciation organization. Wise Asium. Yeah, all of the above. And I would love to get to 75. If I can average 75 viewers without having to wear a bikini in a hot tub, that'd be great. You don't want to see me in a bikini in a hot tub. You really don't. I think we've said our piece about those girls that do that. They're cheating. That's cheating. It really is. Is cheating. But we have a lot of fun here, and I think you would too. And just come watch us live. If you've never watched us live, if you're watching this video, come watch us live. I think you would really enjoy it, and we have a big time. And I want to thank, there's two people I really want to thank. I want to thank Evil Dead for being my moderator for most of the 4 years that I've been on here. And Davis isn't here right now, but Sports Davis was my first ever moderator, and he's been with me since the very beginning. He tends to come and go lately, but I want to thank him also for contributing to this channel. I really appreciate them both. And all the other moderators. I have a bunch of them, but those two have been with me the longest. All right. I think that wraps it up. That gives me time to put a pretty bow on this one, wrap it up, and get ready for the top of the hour. We have the Bucks and the Rams, and then we'll have Game 1 of the World Series. It should be good. It'll be the Dodgers and the Red Sox from Dodger Stadium, Game 1 of the World Series. And then we'll have college football for you tonight, one game, Arizona State at Ohio State. The reason I'm doing college football tonight, I'll also be doing college football Monday through Thursday, one game each night, is that normally on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern I come on, we do the 10 games. But I have a car show I have to MC and DJ this Saturday. So I want to get some games done, so by the time I get back, instead of having to do 10 games, I'll only have to do 5. And we'll start those at about 5 o'clock Eastern Time next Saturday. So that's where we are. All right, thanks for tuning in to the Extra Point blog and putting up with me and letting me explain everything. I think I explained it as well as I possibly could. And we'll see you here in about 7 minutes for the Bucks and the Rams here at Jammin' Sports.